A new restaurant down the street?
Yeah, I went there yesterday. Man, the food was off the chain. And the chicken was like, how they be saying that? Like, to die for.
Whoa.
To die for?
To die for?
I'm saying, I mean, the chicken was good. You know what I'm saying?
Can't you just say the chicken was good? Does it have to be to die for? That sounds a little effeminate.
Did you wear skinny jeans while you were eating the chicken?
Nah, I'm saying, I would say it was good, man.
Was it rainbow chicken?
Hold up, man. I just wear the chicken was good.
Milk with a sparkly buckle on it while you eat?
Was the server doing a sissy bounce?
Man, I'm just saying, the chicken was good. Look, man, the chicken was good, no homo.
No, the time is past for no homo.
You're supposed to say it before, brother.
It's like a disclaimer.
I can't say, I just said no homo, though. There's no regulation on when you can say no homo. What are y'all, like a regulatory governing body over no homo or something?
Brothers and sisters, don't get caught up. Don't let the homosexual poltergeist pull you in. We are the final front in the war against white sex. Stand strong. This African service announcement has been brought to you by War on the Horizon Radio.
War on the Horizon. You gotta love it.
No.
I apologize. Black man, I apologize. Warrior, I apologize. My king, I apologize. Henson, I apologize. Jay, you, I apologize. I'm strong, I apologize. I didn't realize that you were born into a system that never meant for you to have a chance. That the color of your skin made your birth a special circumstance. As we grew up, I didn't notice your childhood friends, just little boys become black men in prison, become black men who died too soon, become to me as just another number, when to you they were your brothers. So I didn't notice your impressive intelligence become lost in bitterness. Instead, I called you loud, said that you were angry, told you off and rolled my neck, even punished you by withholding sex, then wondered why you went looking for love somewhere else, and for that, I apologize. You look so bad, I cannot make it without you, I can't survive, can't get by. We don't know before we will trouble evil entirely. I'm alive. We'll survive. I apologize. See, I heard when you repeated after Jesse Jackson, I am somebody, but I didn't hear the words reply when their actions said that you were, are, and will continue to be nobody, as they profited from your existence, but still denied your humanity. So I labeled you as having black male frustration. I didn't recognize the self-rejection wrapped up in a roll call child discrimination, and I failed to protect you from the blues that now occupy your empty spaces. But I did call you my baby daddy, when in fact you are my children's father. And I joined the unsupportive society that didn't bother to work with, to help, to nurture you. For that, I apologize. You look so bad, I cannot make it without you, I can't survive, can't get by. We don't know people when we will trouble evil entirely. I'm alive, we'll survive. I apologize. Well, now for you, I am home, where you can relax in the arms of friendship, for there is where you belong. As a constant source of loyalty and faith, to you I'll submit. You can drink from the counsel of my lips and find a never-ending love and support in the strength of my grip. Even though your self-esteem is under a never-ending attack, breathe freely, my brother. Know that your sister has always got your back. We'll harmonize perfectly together as the lyrics of a song. And yes, I know that you come to this realization. It has taken me, so long. But for that, I apologize. Yeah, I apologize. You look so bad, I cannot make it without you, I can't survive, can't get by. We don't know people when we will triple evil entirely. I'm alive. We'll survive. I apologize. You look alone, cannot make it without you. Mine can't survive. Can't get mine. We don't love people like we will trouble evil entirely out of line. We'll survive. I apologize, yeah. I apologize, yeah. So sorry, truly sorry. I apologize.
Peace and welcome to the Message to the Black Fam program. Tonight should be a very, very interesting show, to put it mildly. We are going to do the Black woman's apology. And you don't hear that all the time. You better tune in, because like this is the only time you probably ever gonna hear Black women apologize. Me personally, I'm very humble. I don't mind apologizing when I'm wrong, but I'm never wrong. So tonight I will apologize for all the sisters that are wrong. That's just how it goes. I got the idea for this show. It's very interesting stuff. Like funny stuff is always happening to me. Little background. My neighbors are not the most civilized people in the world. So the brother will not get a job. He don't want a job. I know, because we offered to get him a job. He just don't want a job. And his wife, I guess, or a girlfriend, I don't know, gets tired of having him sit around the house. So they'll get into it from time to time. They argue a lot. I always hear it all the way across the street or down the street, whatever. But lately, for the last, I don't know, maybe 6 months or so, this woman has been like shooting at him every now and then. Like you'll hear, "Get out of my house," and I guess he don't leave quick enough, and you'll hear bap bap bap, and I'm like, oh, okay, what's going on? So I was kind of late getting our sister Jasira's CD, and that was by the way, Sister Jasira that just brought us in. Very beautiful CD. Hopefully you're not as late as me getting it, but if you have not purchased it yet, I suggest that you do that, definitely. Very beautiful CD by a very beautiful sister. So I just got the CD, and I'm in here, cleaning my house, and I'm jamming to it. Like, okay, I like this CD. And that song came on, I Apologize. And then the next thing I hear is a gunshot. And his normal phrase, "Somebody call the police. This B-word just shot at me." And I'm like, oh, here they go again. Next thing I heard, bop, 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 bop. I'm like, oh, Lord, she's serious this time. She gonna kill the man. So I'm sitting there, and sometimes you have to laugh to stop from crying. It's really not funny, but it just happens so often that it's almost like a reality TV show. It's like it's not even real. So I'm sitting here and just thinking of the irony that she's shooting at this man while I'm sitting here listening to I Apologize by Queen Jasira. And I said, you know what? I wonder how many brothers are going through this. I don't think too many brothers are going through that, because normally for a normal person, if they get shot at like the first time, they wouldn't come back for more. But I'm sure they're going through their own drama that's just ridiculous and makes absolutely no sense at all. So I said, you know what? Maybe I should do a show about apologizing to Black men, because we are so quick to say that our men are dogs, they're worthless, they ain't doing this, they ain't doing that. Shoot, I might as well be with a white man, I might as well be with a lesbian. I mean, we have believed everything that the media has told us, and a lot of times it's almost like we're on autopilot. We're not even thinking for ourselves. We just, whatever they tell us about our men, we believe. That's how the whole feminism thing started. We didn't need to get into that, but white people told us to, so we did. So I said, well, maybe we'll do a show about that. And then I started thinking back. I don't know. I want to say a few months ago, maybe probably longer than that. I don't know if it's been a year. I was just clicking through YouTube, and I came to a channel with a sister who I'd already heard about. Her name is Najma Muhammad, and she did a video about apologizing to Black men. And I said, well, that would be the perfect guest for the show, because that's already right in line with what we want to do. Because in order to move forward, I think that we do need to acknowledge what we've done, that it's not one-sided. This is a two-way street, and it has been from the beginning. They've let us down. We've let them down. But we can't keep pointing the finger. At some time, we have to grow up and look at what we've done, make amends for what we've done. And the most important part, make an effort to stop doing it. I mean, you can't just say, I'm sorry. I'm sure that woman shooting at her husband probably apologized all the time to get him back. And then 2 weeks later, she's shooting at him again. We got to stop the foolishness. And there's so many things that we do. And like I say, I think sometimes we don't even realize we're doing it. It's just been programmed into us for so long. So I do want to share with you really quickly the letter that Sister Najma wrote to Black men. And then we're going to bring her on and just, talk about this. What are we doing? How have we become enemies to each other? And what can we do to reverse this?
Dear Black men, I have become a woman that you no longer recognize. I have allowed our enemy to impregnate me with his ideas and thoughts. I have allowed an illusion of independence to keep us separated. I have fooled myself into believing that my degrees places me degrees above you. I humbly come to you asking forgiveness. I come to you asking you to forgive me for not supporting you. I come to you asking you to forgive me for not truly loving you. I was taught to hate myself, then hate you. My desire to reproduce you was killed by our enemy. I apologize for teaching my daughters that you have failed them and continuing the cycle of an illusion of independence with them. I apologize for not encouraging you, for not being more patient with you, for not understanding your plight, your trials, and your tribulations. I apologize for thinking that in order to gain strength, I had to weaken you. I apologize for disturbing your peace in order to have peace within myself, or what I thought was peace. My life has been in peril without you. I try to convince myself that I don't need you, but you are a necessity. I can't even continue the cycle of life without you. I apologize for my harsh tone, for using my tongue as a sword, for telling you that you are nothing, when in fact, you are everything. I apologize for mistreating you, disrespecting you, neglecting you, and belittling you. I know that I have aided in breaking you, and I am beneficial in rebuilding you. I am acknowledging the wrongs that I have committed against you, and I am confessing my faults. By acknowledging my wrongs doesn't mean that I am absolving you of your duty, but rather I am recommitting myself to my duty to you. I have relinquished my womb from my enemy, and I am returning it to its rightful owner, you. I try to walk this journey of life without you, but I realize that I should be walking this journey with you and beside you. I pray that you accept my sincere apology and that we can start the process of reconciliation so we can love each other and have productive and successful relationships that will set the standard for our children. Black men, I love you. Signed, a Black woman who conceives that her womb was one of many.
All right, that was our sister Najma on YouTube. Her channel is Najma Reflects, and that's Nojma if you want to look it up and hear that again. And I just think it's really important. You know, a lot of us don't realize that we are being used as an absolute enemy against our own man, and he's being used against us as well. And, you know, I know that we're not perfect, but I, for one, do not like white people. And what I don't like more than white people is the idea that I'm being used as a pawn in my own self-destruction and the destruction of my man and my family. So it's something that we definitely need to talk about. The call-in number is 760-569-76. I'm sorry, wrong number. 760-569-7676. Sorry, I got tongue-tied. That's 760-569-7676. The participation code, 948656#. That's 948656#. We're going to probably be going to the phone lines probably a little bit before 8 o'clock after we dialogue a little bit. The only two rules we have tonight, of course, we know no N-word. That's rule number 1. That's always in effect. And for tonight, we will not at all in any way, shape, or form accept somebody calling in saying, yeah, but the black man. Not talking about the black man today. This is completely a one-sided conversation. So if you are a black woman calling in, all I want to hear is, yes, we do so-and-so and so-and-so, and we need to cut it out. Black men, y'all can say what you want to, you know, I'm kind of scared to hear what you got to say, but it's cool. But black women, we're not doing that today. Nope, the black man this and the black man that. Not today. All right. With that being said, we will bring on our sister Najma. Peace, sister. How you doing?
Peace, Queen. How are you?
I'm good. Glad to have you.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Oh, no problem. Can you give us a little background on what made you write that letter? What was going through your mind at the time?
Well, actually, it started off as a Facebook status. It was like a snippet that I wrote as a status one day. I was just kind of, just thinking about just the state of, our relationship between one another. So I wrote it as a status, and I said I was going to build on it. So eventually, I turned it into a letter. People might call it a poem or whatever, but I turned it into a letter. And so I decided, I would just, submit it. And I didn't know that it would, feel like this conversational piece. Like it just was out of control, just everywhere. But the good part about that is, whether it was positive or negative, like it started a conversation, that we needed to have. So that was my whole point of everything. Just, really focusing on myself as a woman and as, black women, because it's popular to speak about the black man in a degrading way. Like, it's popular, it's money in it, it's encouraged, So my thing is like, I'm going to talk about what we've done, how we've contributed to the situation, because oftentimes, we like to be like, we are sugar and spice and everything nice, and it is never us. And I'm like, hold up, sometimes it is. So that was my aspect, to, let black men know that there are women, that will take accountability, for the part that we have played in, the current state of the black family, because black men don't hear that from a lot of women. They're normally hearing what they're not, what they'll never be, So, again, I just wanted to open up a dialogue about a conversation, and I was just reflecting on the state of the relationship between a black man and woman.
Yes, ma'am. And I can probably guess what the response would be. I think that I saw like 100 and something dislikes and like 800 something likes on that. So I'm assuming that the 800 were the brothers and the 100 were probably the sisters.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I got some interesting things in inboxes. I've read some interesting blogs about me, articles about me, but that's to be expected. I have a very a close sister friend of mine, and we have the same type of mentality, and it's kind of like, you have to expose like the hypocrisy in thinking, because it feels like in order for like sisters to love us, we have to hate the black man, and it's like, if we're talking about him in a negative manner, and it's all good, you don't hear like, oh, Najma, you're a man basher.
Right.
But I talk about us, oh, you're a woman basher. I'm like, well, no. But if I talk about him, you cool with me. But if I talk about the dark side of our room, then it's a problem. So, it's interesting, very interesting.
I hear you. I've been a victim to the same kind of thing from time to time, so I understand completely. We can be vicious when we want to be. What do you see as our role in this? How are we helping white supremacy to thrive, and how have we been made an enemy to our own men and ourselves?
Well, I think that it goes back, to slavery, and it was an article that I wrote recently, and I talked about black women and, the effect that the Stockholm syndrome has on us. I followed it really good to jump off. And basically, there's a part in the letter where it states that, this is proven to be successful and we can sleep soundly, for she will stand guard for us. And that's basically what we've been doing. We've been on our post. We've been standing guard. We've been making sure that the agenda of our slave master is perfectly perpetuated. It is perfectly continued, through our wombs. We're giving birth to daughters who, generations of this illusion of independence with, weakened sons. And that's what we're producing. So I tell women, whenever you talk about the quality of men and what you don't like about the quality of men, you're going to have to look at the quality of women, because we're giving birth to these men, you know? So it's going to always come back to how we see ourselves, you know, our thought process, because our wombs are so powerful. There's so much power and, you know, divinity in our wombs. I don't think we really understand how much power it is and why, you know, as Black women, why we were called the booty, you know, why we were called the fire, because the best way to either to corrupt a nation or manipulate a nation is through the woman, and the best way to revamp, rebuild, revitalize, and educate is through a woman. So we've got the corruption part down pat. So now we need to work on rebuilding the nation.
I agree completely. One thing that always makes me laugh is women, to me, they tell on themselves. They say, you know, my baby daddy ain't no good. He ain't this, he ain't that. And my thing is, you telling on yourself. Why'd you pick him? You weren't raped. You chose to lay down with this man. So obviously you didn't respect yourself and your future children enough to pick somebody of quality. You're basically calling yourself stupid when you talk about how bad this man is. Maybe you can say that, you know, he may not be compatible with you. Maybe he's not the right one for you. But is he really as bad as you say? And if he's doing all the stuff you say, are you doing anything to maybe trigger that?
Right. Well, you start off when you say it was your baby daddy, number one.
Exactly.
You know, that's start number one. And I totally agree, sis. I'm the same way, because my thing is this, you know, as women, we have to give permission for a man, unless it's by force. You know what I mean? You have to literally open yourself up for a man to come inside you. You know what I mean? So it's like, you know, I always ask, you know, like, so when did he become no good? Like, after you slept with him? Like, after you did this? Then all of a sudden he became no good? Like, you know, if you don't set requirements before sex, it's just unrealistic to try to set some afterwards, because what's the point? You know, he already got it, so now you want him to, you know, exercise discipline after he got something he didn't have to be disciplined to get. So I completely agree.
Exactly. Sometimes these women get pregnant by somebody who already has 2 and 3 children, may not be taking care of them, and they think, oh, I'm going to be different. No, you're not. I mean, that some of that responsibility has got to be on us, I think. And even as far as calling fathers deadbeats, sometimes we keep men away from their children. Sometimes we talk badly to the children about the man where they don't want to see the man. I mean, it's so many things, and a child isn't a paycheck. I mean, do you have any thoughts on that, about how we sometimes sabotage our own situations?
Oh, yes, ma'am. And, you know, my thing is this. You know, sometimes we look at men for potential. Not potential to be husbands, but, you know, they're like step one in our retirement plan. You know, sometimes we kind of barter our wounds, you know, for child support sometimes. Mm-hmm. And sometimes, you know, we'll take a brother to court for child support. It won't even give him a chance, you know, to try to do right by his child. And my thing is, you know, I try to investigate everything that's told to me. And I know plenty of brothers that I know personally that may have been labeled a certain way, but I know that they're fighting their mothers, you know, to see their children. And, you know, their mothers harboring on to bitterness because either their relationship ended or their, you know, marriage ended. So now their children have become pawns. You know, oh, you didn't want me, so I make you pay. You didn't want me, so you won't see your child. You know, I work at a school, and there is this sister, and her daughter was getting her eyes and ears examined by the nurse. And I listened to her tell her girlfriend how she spent her child support money on, like, getting her hair done and getting her clothes and whatever. And so the little girl couldn't start school because she didn't have a uniform. And so the little girl asked her, you know, well, why don't I have a uniform? She was like, because your trifling daddy didn't send you any money. And I was like, did you just lie to her? I'm like, because I just sat here and listened to you tell your friend how you spent the child support. You know, I was ready to get fired that day. I was like, that's no way. I'm going, you know, I just sat up here and listened to you. And then you're going to tell your daughter? And I'm like, how many lies have come before that? You know what I mean? To where you're trying to paint your child's father as a monster when the monster is really you. You You know what I mean? All because your relationship didn't work out, or you try to, build a foundation on your back, or, you try to, garnish a marriage proposal by having sex, or whatever the reason. We have to learn how to separate how we feel about each other as adults and what's best for the children, because there are so many children being used as pawns that don't get to see their fathers because they have a bitter mama.
Definitely. But if you tried to tell that same woman that she was wrong, you would never get her to see that in a million years. Why do you think that we become so hypersensitive that even when we are so trifling, we feel like we can't do anything wrong?
I think it's because, there's a certain level of arrogance. And also, this world enables women a lot. In this world, you can have, numerous babies out of wedlock. You can go down to a state office and you will be encouraged to continue to have some more. You know what I mean? Like, there's no, you don't really have any consequences per se. So, it's kind of like it enables women to feel like they are the victim. And because we as women, we don't even check each other. Somebody could tell us that their man did them wrong and we ready to go slash tires, but we're not even going to ask our sister, okay, well, what's the situation? Because we already on that all men aren't bleep or whatever. You know what I mean? So it's like we enable each other, Black women talk a lot about how black men are coddled, but we coddle one another, actually. Like, we are on standby. We read our children. Black men ain't, stories. You know what I mean? So it's like we really enable this behavior with one another because as women, we don't check each other. And because the black man has been casted in such a negative light for so long, we have become like everybody else. We blame it on the black man. Somebody got shot, whatever. Oh, the black guy did it. Somebody, the black guy did it. Oh, I was done wrong, the black guy did it. You know what I mean? So it's hard for us for some reason to look at ourselves and be like, okay, well, I am responsible for my choice. It's like sisters want brothers to take 100% accountability for everything that happened in their womb. I'm like, that's your womb. Like, you control who goes in and out of there. So how is everything on him when you had an extended invitation? And that's, we just, for some reason, we just don't think like that. Well, like I said, you have propaganda that puts black men in the worst light ever, and like those movies and books that are so popular, it's because black women are out there purchasing it. We're buying tickets. We're doing this. We're making all these people rich. You don't even realize how they're playing off our emotions and the self-hatred that we really have for ourselves, which in turn, channels to him, because if we don't love ourselves, we don't know how to love him. So everybody is profited off us as black women, and the destruction of the black family continues. And we keep saying, oh, black men have to do this, have to do this. I'm like, well, what if all black men got all their stuff together, but they come back to the same old black woman? You know what I mean? So how is that fair? You want a new black man, but you feel like you don't have to make any changes either? Like, I just feel like that's hypocritical and that's unrealistic.
I think so, too. And you said something interesting a little while ago. I like the way you put it. You said that sometimes we barter our wombs. And I think that a lot of people do that. And I've noticed two things with a certain class of women. Number one would be either looking down on black men who we don't deem as successful or quote unquote educated as us. And that generally will make us do the second thing, which is turn to white men, which blows my mind because of just the history. I mean, goodness gracious.
Right.
What do you think about that situation?
Yes, we're quick to judge a man by his wallet, instead of his character. And, pardon me, if his job isn't something, that we feel like, he's successful, whatever, then, we'll walk on by him. And I think one of the most beautiful things to invest in as a black man and as a black woman is the potential that you see. You know what I mean? Because I think that it's beautiful when you see potential in someone and you help them achieve their greatness. You know, and I think that when you have a relationship like that, when you all build together because you seeing the best in him and he sees the best in you, I think that can make such a beautiful, strong bond. But again, we're conditioned to look for ballers, you know, things of that nature. So if a brother looking like he don't got it, then we got to keep it moving. And the thing about that is that, you know, I have to ask women, like, what makes you successful? Like, what makes you think you're a good catch? Because my thing is, if you're such this, and this, then why are all these men supposedly, you know, walking past you? And sisters would think, some of us think that if we have a job, or if we drive a certain type of car, if we have something, then we are successful. And I'm like, you might be successful in that area, but if your relationship, you know, are always falling apart, then that says something about yourself, you know, because at the end of the day, in all your fair relationships, you are the common denominator. There's nobody else but you. So if there's a history and there's a pattern, then you have to start looking at yourself. But we look at men for the wrong things. We look at, you know, how much money they have, and not to say that, you know, financial, you know, stability shouldn't be a factor, but it shouldn't be the only factor.
I agree. What do you think about these women who are saying, you know, black men, you know, they don't treat me right. I already know they ain't going to do right. So I'm going to just go on and find me a white man because I know he's going to take care of me. I've heard the women with natural hair say, brothers don't like my natural hair, but this white boy, he says he likes my afro. So I'm going to go ahead and get me well, they don't say crack, a white man.
Mm-hmm. Well, my thing is like, you do that. You think that that's where you gonna find you be his exotic fantasy if you want to. And my thing is like, if you feel like there's no good black men that exist, then why do you keep looking? Because you're searching for that you don't even believe in. So, you know, if you feel like you have to step outside, you know, yourself and him, and you think that you can find happiness and you don't know what this man is really calling you inside his mind, then okay, you go do that. I mean, when I hear things like that, I'm just like, I mean, I feel like on both sides, to give up on a black man is to give up on yourself. If to give up on a black woman is to give up on yourself, and just to you know, put all men in a box based on the men that you chose, I think that's unfair. And we don't like that done to us. We don't like to be placed in a category. Like, if I was in a relationship, I wouldn't want to have to pay for somebody else's mistakes. You know, I'll pay for mine, you know, but not somebody else's. And that's what we do. Like, we make every black man, you know, pay for it to hurt another black woman causes. But sometimes we don't even think that some of the pain could be self-inflicted, you know. But I hear, you know, and I read, you know, a lot about promoting, like, going outside. And I'm like, if that's what you want to do and you think that, you know, how you want to make it better, I mean, just based on history, you know, that's something I have never, ever thought of, desired, you know. And just to hear that, like I said, you know, when you give up on a black man, basically you're just giving up on yourself.
That's very, very true. I agree. I was actually, I do weird stuff in my spare time when I get bored. Like, I'll go to white survivalist forums. I think that those are interesting. But every now and then I'll go to like Stormfront or one of these racist skinhead sites, and just to see what they're talking about. And I was on there a couple weeks ago and saw a post by a white man talking about white men who like black women. And the things that they were calling us she-boons, which I guess was like a female baboon or something like that. They were talking about how ugly we are, how disgraceful we are. A couple of them were saying, well, you know, I kind of feel sorry for black women because they have to put up with black men. So, you know, it's no wonder why they would come to us. And I mean, it was just so much craziness. And I'm sorry, but I can't believe that a liberal white person really thinks that much differently.
Right.
I mean, you're probably still his pet monkey from his perspective. I mean, they're into bestiality, they don't mind, but I mean, they're not looking at you. I can't imagine somebody thinking that a white man is going to look at you and view you the way a black man would, or even better. I mean, they act like these white men are better, like they can offer them something, like they can love them better and understand them better, when they're calling them the N-word behind their back half the time. I don't understand it.
Right.
Now,
well, you know, it's that white savior syndrome. You know what I mean? We're always looking for white folks to save us. So I guess when you get down and you feel like you hit relationship rock bottom, then you gotta look for your white Jesus. Go get you a white Jesus.
I know that's right. It just kills me because they talk about black men are deadbeat dads and white men are the most deadbeat fathers I've ever met. I mean, slavery alone, how many children did they father and sell off or murder? Sometimes they cut the baby out the womb. You don't get much more of a deadbeat than that. I mean,
right.
Everything that we say about black men, the white man is like 12 times more guilty of, but we don't see that. We haven't been programmed to see that. How do you think, because I know for me growing up, I watched a lot of talk shows and TV shows, and I think that we kind of got programmed to be very reactive and vicious, almost like a pit bull when it comes to black men, and we don't even realize it sometimes. It's just like we're on autopilot, and I mean, we don't even know we're doing it, you know. How do you think, I mean, did you go through the same thing growing up, or do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, ma'am, and that's what I was saying earlier, you know, how a girlfriend, you know, could tell us something and we ready to slash tires and we ready, you know, to go jump his girlfriend, you know what I mean? So we don't even think, we're not logical, we're just emotional, you know what I mean? Like, we're just like, hear something and we'll be like, oh, your man did this, and, you know, and we're just on ready, set, go. And, you know, I think that it has a lot to do with, I think it's a generational thing, and I think as a generation, you know, it's gotten worse because, you know, my mother didn't necessarily talk about black men in a positive light, but not, you know, not a negative light either. Like, she was one of those that were like, listen, even when you're married, you know, you need to have your own stash that your husband doesn't know about in case, you know, something happens and you can save yourself and your children, you know. And I think it's like, you know, if that's my husband, you know, I'm trying to save all of us. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I even got that from my own mother. And then when I hear, you know, my cousins and, you know, they're speaking to their children now, it's totally worse. You know, they'll tell them, you know, they're encouraging them to get pregnant and do this. And, you know, their security is in a system that was never designed for the betterment of the black family in the first place, you know? So I think at this point, we've gotten to a point where, you know, being a baby mama is like, it's like the new occupation, you know, it's like the new norm. Like, we don't promote or have, you know, strong marriages or strong foundations and things of that nature. So, you know, we don't look at men like husbands. You know, we look at them as potential. You know, if we want to, you know, feel a certain way or, you know, whatever. So we don't look at each other through the way the Creator made us. Like, we don't look at each other through divine eyes. We look at each other like we're savages. You know what I mean?
Yes, ma'am, I do. And I'm curious about something, because I want to know if I'm just the only one that sees this. Maybe I'm crazy. Sometimes I am. But, you know, when we talk about black women and how we're working against our own men a lot of times, and a lot of times we do that through the children. You know, I know even it wasn't as bad with your grandmother, but, you know, your grandmother saying save for you and your children. And now, you know, that's multiplied times 10 because we got the feminism in there. You don't need a man, girl. Don't worry about it. But since we're so angry at black men, I'm looking at a lot of the children coming up nowadays, especially the brothers. And I'm seeing a lot of these little brothers are becoming more and more effeminate. Do you think that some women are purposely effeminizing their sons just to get back at at the father?
That could be, because, you know, as a man, especially with your son, you know, you want a son. You know what I mean? And you know, when the child is in the womb of the mother, you have no access to that child as a man. You know, the thought of the woman when she eats, you know, mentally forms and fashions, you know, what's in her womb. Like, a woman could look at you and be like, oh, yeah, I love you, and she could be thinking, I hate you, and your child come out screaming at you, cursing at you, you know? So that could very well be a possibility, you know, because in some mind of some women, that could be the best way to get a man where he really hurts, you know, especially with his son. You know, because that's his son, you know. He wants his son to grow up and, you know, to be, excuse me, a man. And when our, you know, sons become more and more effeminate and, you know, I mean, just very blatant with it, that could be very hurtful, you know, to the father. So I think there's a possibility in that, you know. At this point, we use our wounds for weapons as it is, you know. Some might use it, you know, a little differently, but we definitely use our wound as a weapon. So that could be a way that some women decide to, quote, unquote, get back at their son's father, but don't even realize how they're hurting their son.
So for the women who, you know, I guess they're still out there, but they're starting to realize it, and they want to stop doing some of the madness they've been doing. What do you think are some steps to be able to look at yourself and see what you need to change, and then actually start making a change, a real authentic change, not just, you know, I'm sorry, just to get what you want?
The first thing is just admitting, like, you know, your part in everything that has gone down. I think that's the first step. And I think, you know, you have to really look at yourself in the mirror, and you have to look at the scars, the blemishes, everything that, you know, you have to really look at the ugly parts of yourself. You know what I mean? And then really work hard and fight against yourself, you know, to change that. And accountability on any level is hard to take. You know, it's hard to look at yourself and say, you know, well, I did play a part in this, so I was wrong. But if that's the only way, like, it's the only way that you can really, really make a change, because if I have a wound on me, like, putting ointment on you is not going to do anything for me. You know, I have to heal myself. And we have to be very honest with ourselves, number one, and then work towards that. And it's a process, because, you know, as women, you know, we like looking in the mirror when everything is pleasing to us, you know. But if we gain a little weight, or if we have, like, a blemish or something, we avoid mirrors. And that's kind of like how we are now. You know, so you just kind of gotta strip and just look at yourself and just be like, this is the part of me that I need to change, and just, you know, fight with yourself so that the reflection that's staring back at you is something that you can really love, embrace, and be proud of. I mean, if you don't do it for yourself, you gotta at least try to do it for the baby. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, they're the ones that suffer from our foolishness. You know, that's why we have these repeated cycles and, you know, broken homes, because our children, they really, you know, suffer the consequences for the actions and foolish choices that we make.
I agree. I always say one of the first things that I recommend doing is number one, cutting off the television as much as possible. Keep that devil out your house. You know, all those subliminals that they're implanting in your mind every time you turn on the TV. I think that that's beneficial. But I kind of feel sorry for the younger generation. You know, most of the people I know, maybe, you know, mid to early to mid 30s and up, you know, we kind of grew up around a time where there was a little decency left. But these children coming up now, you know, teenagers and in their early 20s, you know, whatever goes with them. And it's not all their fault. I mean, when you're grown, you do have to take responsibility. But just the environment they were raised in, a lot of them never knew right from wrong. A lot of them never knew, you know, that they should carry themselves in a respectful manner and respect other people. That just was not pushed after a certain point in time, especially since the media was raising, you know, most of the children. Our parents were working, or maybe they were addicted to drugs, or just a whole lot of stuff that was going on after, you know, the 80s into the 90s, where a lot of people just did not have that strong parent, and the teachers didn't care. And so you have a whole generation of people who were clueless. And I just don't know what they can do because they've never really had a role model or an image to look up to that was anywhere near normal.
Right. I agree. And also, just to talk about, media, it always bothers me, when I see, it bothers me when I see grown women calling themselves Barbs, or trying to look like Nicki Minaj. But when I see, little girls, 2 and 3, and they're calling themselves silly H's, and, 2 and 3-year-olds, they doing a little dance, popping their behind, they think it's cute, and the mothers are cheering them on. I'm like, you don't even know the damage that you're doing. You are instilling the thought of your daughters that it's all about her body, And I have, there's this little sister that at my school where I work, and when I first met her, she, 9 years old, and I had to give her, a pair of uniform pants. And, she's 9, and she had a child, a pair of size 16. And she thought, she was the business. And she was like, yeah, my mother tells me I'm thick. I'm like, you're 9. Why are you telling a 9-year-old about thickness? It's something you should try to be, at 9. But clearly, her mother has no foundation. So for some people, some of us, we just want to have to double and triple our efforts. And a lot of times we're just going to have to start from scratch because a person can't teach what they don't know. At the same time, right from wrong. A part of you has to know, this is wrong for you to tell your 9-year-old that she's thick. Men like them thick. This is something a 9-year-old should know. There's a part of you that should know, hey, having your little girls dance to music, popping it behind, and you throwing dollars at them, there's something in your mind that should tell you, hey, this is wrong. Or having your daughter swing from a pole and hook heels, there's a part of you in your mind, that should tell you this is wrong. So at the same time, even if you don't have a guide or you didn't have a guide, there's something in your mind that click and be like, this is not right. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like both of those things combined.
I agree. It should click. And sometimes I wonder if it does click. It seems like during slavery, on the sex farms and everything else, we were bred to be just objects of pleasure, basically whores, if you want to call it that. And then after slavery, we tried to get a little dignity back, and we did for a long time. We were definitely the most moral. When we were given a chance to be moral and a choice to be moral, we were that. But then hip-hop music came in, and the Rump Shaker and R. Kelly and all this kind of stuff, and it became cool to do it. And I almost wonder if, because we think it's cool and it's acceptable, if that's kind of clouded our judgment, and maybe it's not clicking anymore. It seems like, I don't know, it should, but I don't know if it is. Now, let me check with you, because I know you said that you had to leave a little early today. About how long do we have before you have to leave us?
I have about maybe another 20-25 minutes or so.
Okay, sounds good. Would you like to try to get a couple phone calls in before you leave?
Yes, ma'am, that's fine.
Okay. Let's see what they have for us today. Remember, no N-word and no, yeah, but the black man. We ain't going there today. All right. 5469, you're live. 5469. All right, I'm going to assume that you're just listening unless I hear something from you. 5469. All right. We have an anonymous call. You're live. Anonymous call. All right. And for anybody that tuned in late, the dial-in number is 760-569-7676. The participation code 948656#. Again, 760-569-7676, and that's 948656#. You can call in with any questions or comments. All right, next call, 5680, you're live.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam, sister, how you doing?
I'm doing well, and you? Assalamu alaikum to the other sister.
Walaikum salam.
I tuned in and I heard at least 17 minutes of the show, and it's really a great topic. But what I was listening to, a lot of it I do agree with you all on, but you both Muslim, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. We have to remember what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said. He said that we are deaf, dumb, and blind. And a lot of people, they really just don't know. And I can only go off my own experience where I grew up. I grew up in Chicago. I grew up in public housing. I grew up, my family was on public assistance. So it's like a vicious cycle. When you don't know better, you can't teach better. And I was raised by the television. I didn't have a lot of, everybody was the same. We were on public aid. We lived in the projects. So it was like, there was never no real need to further your education. They expected us to get pregnant as a teenager. They expected us to repeat the cycle of living in public housing and for us to teach our children that. So a lot of it is your upbringing. I was raised by the television. Everything that came out as far as music, like Sister Lady Shabazz said, the television, when it was good music, when hip-hop first came out, it was very positive. I remember that because I remember Boogie Down Productions, all of the positive influence of hip-hop. I would wear my African medallion, I had a little pride. At the end, the Rump Shaker came out, the, what was it called? Luke.
Oh, God,
and
yeah.
all this other, all these music that shit, you know. Then little girls, we went from, I want to be an educator to, oh, I want to be a stripper. So everything that we see, we try to mimic. But the one thing about me, I always had a desire to want to do that. I had a conscience. I had enough sense to know that everything around me was not good, and I wanted to change that. So, and I get you all, we acknowledge what the problem is. Do you have more solutions? How could we reach the mothers who just don't know, like the sister said? And if they don't know, obviously they not teaching the people. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you.
Walaikum salam.
Well, I think that if you want to go, you know, we have to put in work and definitely have to go out in our community. You know, we can't be afraid of our own people, and I mean our community. I don't mean like, you know, a suburb. I mean our community, very urban. You know, and really get out there and, you know, talk to our sisters, you know, teach them, train them, you know, so that they can know, but we can't. Sometimes we're so removed from one another, like we'll walk past each other and won't even speak, you know? So we have to really get ourselves out there, be involved, you know, mentor, do something, because you never know how taking just a few minutes even to talk to someone could even impact or influence their life. So if you see a sister that doesn't know the way, you know, then it's our responsibility to try to, you know, change the direction of her footsteps, you know, so that she can be on a better path.
I agree, and I can definitely attest to what my sister Mumina was saying, because I mean, I was the same way. The bad thing is I was conscious enough to know that what I was doing wasn't right, but it was still appealing. So, you know, when KRS and, who I have some issues with, but KRS and Public Enemy and Brand Nubian was out, I was rocking my medallions, and I had my little kente cloth on and all this like stuff. And then, you know, as hip hop, I should say regressed or degressed, I can't call it progression. As hip hop got worse and worse, you know, I went from, you know, wearing that African medallion to doing the butterfly and the percolator and any other kind of nonsense you could think of. And I knew, you know, that's not right and that's not what I should be doing. But, you know, that's what I started doing. I was wearing little tennis skirts and things like that. And, you know, had I not had some outside influence, you know, I probably would have went in a different direction, because I look at my other family members and I see where they are. Not all of them, but a lot of them, especially the ones my age. But the difference was I had a father who wasn't going to play it. I mean, I could hide certain things from him, but, you know, certain things just wasn't going to go down because I had a father. And, you know, then I started getting into the Nation of Islam, and I was still a little rebellious, but it helped a little bit having those elder women there to kind of keep you on the right path. I always say, we can't always complain. We have to be a part of the solution and just do whatever you can do. I mean, I know Sister Najma has a book coming out. I'm working on a book as well, but, even before I had even considered writing a book, I started doing a blog. It's not a lot, but, it's something. I had information that I felt other sisters might benefit from, so you put it out there. Before then, at one point I was teaching sewing or, just different things. I did some natural health counseling. Nothing that was really necessarily profitable. A lot of stuff I just did for free. But it was doing my part. But no one person can do it all. So I think you just have to get out there, and we can't always think big as far as changing the world. I mean, can you touch one person? Can you be a foster parent? Can you just make a difference and be an example to somebody? I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure about that. Did you have any examples or solutions that you could think of, Sister Mumina? Sister Mumina?
Can you hear me?
Walaikum salam. Yes, ma'am. Did you have any solutions that you could think of?
Well, I think what you two doing are great. Like you said, we can't save the world. We can save probably one person at a time. And a lot of times I get frustrated with myself because it's like, am I doing enough? Or I'm not doing nothing at all. So I really don't have no solutions. I don't know if we could just interact via the internet, or I don't know what women groups are out here. There used to be a lot of not-for-profit organizations that I would volunteer at, but in Chicago, it's not that many. A lot of them died out because they relied on funding. So it's like I'm at a halt. I can volunteer, but the type of volunteerism I want to donate on my time is targeted towards at-risk people, not so much as people who are well off. Right. And that's what I would like to do, but that's about it. I don't know. You could volunteer somewhere and help somebody out. That's the only thing I could think of.
Yes, ma'am. Well, thank you so much for calling in, sis. I appreciate it.
Okay, thank you for taking my call. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. And she's being humble. She has done things in the past to be helpful. She used to write with me in the paper back in the day and whatnot. Very talented sister. She's definitely doing her thing. I think we can all do more, and I think that bothers almost everybody. Like, there's so much work to do. How does it all get done? I don't know.
Right, but I think that, even though we have moments where we might feel like, okay, we only help one person or we've only done this, you have to think about, what if the one person you helped took what you told them and told another person, and they took what they told, you know what I mean? And you have on and on and on. One person can touch so many lives, and I know we all have the desire to do more, so on a collective effort, we can always pull ideas and resources. The thing about the internet, we have to utilize it because we don't have to be in the same city, for us to work together. I could have something going on in my city, you could have something going on in your city, and we're still doing it on a collective effort. You know what I mean? So we have to, take advantage of certain tools that we have and, use that for our advantage towards helping our people.
Yes, ma'am. All right. And I do want to mention, I don't know a lot about it, and I'm probably going to have the sister on at some point to talk about it, but our sister Jasira, who we listened to doing the song on the way into the show, is working on a foundation. I think it's called Left Foot Forward, where she's helping victims of sexual abuse and just girls in general, I believe, through art as a form of therapy. I believe that's what it is. So definitely we're going to have her on here to talk about that one day. But there are people doing some things. We just need more people to chip in. All right. 7332, you're live. 7332. All right, I'm going to assume that you are just listening. I don't know if these are women or men who are being silent. I'm assuming it's women because men on this topic will probably call in and go ham. So Women, don't be afraid to speak up. And men, if you're being quiet, you're missing your opportunity. Let it out. Okay, I know this ain't going to be a quiet call right here. My brother, you're live.
Oh, so you can predict me now. Yes, I want to first thank the guests for coming on. I'm really enjoying the show and appreciating what she's bringing to the table. And so I want to welcome the guests to the station and thank you for coming on and sharing with us.
Thank you so much.
What I wanted to say, and this is probably very difficult. I don't really know how often sisters get an opportunity to talk to men who are completely open, but most of the men I deal with, the vast majority of them, probably over 99% or over 90% are what you would call conscious black men. Some Muslim, some nationalists, some just progressive brothers. And it may sound strange, but I'm being 100% honest. The amount of emotional pain in black men is something related strictly and particularly to trying to right the wrongs of the past with our women. You know, for the black men who are conscious, like I said, Muslim, nationalists, whatever the case may be, we recognize and see ourselves racially as having failed as men. And so few brothers make the decision that I want to go out here and I want to change this thing. I want to fix this thing. I want to look this European in the eye, and I want to build something to take its power to give this world back to our people. So it's a huge monumental task. And once black men make the decision to do that, one of the first things they do is, our women, look at what we've allowed happen. So we become in love with black women, particularly not only from a sense of appreciating women, but the sense of guilt that we didn't protect them. And what's happening, what I'm noticing, is that it's almost a universal thing. Whether either they've been through it or they're going through it now as we speak. Most of them going through it now as we speak. Others have been through it in the past. That love and dedication they have for the black woman now, most of us haven't lived the Negro life before and running wild and doing a lot of damage in the past, but now once we make that turn to come around, to get completely consumed with getting beat down by the women that we choose to be with in an effort to fight this war is the most debilitating, demoralizing. I talk to men who cry, and I'm not being funny when I say it. I talk to men who cry. It's extremely emotional to the point of some brothers being suicidal. They won't say this though. You'll never hear these things, but it's like this is how it feels to a black man. The reality of it is we created most of this by not defending our women and children, so we don't have anybody to look to blame. But the way it feels for a black man is we finally standing up. We want to be good fathers because most of our fathers weren't there. We want to be good husbands because we feel like most of our fathers failed in being good husbands. All the things that were wrong, we decide we want to do. We want to go work every day, come home, and say, hey, we made the money and put it on the table. We want to do everything that it says that a man's supposed to do. And the reward that we get is a woman who in every way, shape, or form actively, intentionally tries to find a way to fight against us and destroy us and make sure that we will not be successful in making one stride in the right direction and having any peace with a woman who will say, hey, we appreciate the work that you're doing. And so, like when, I can honestly tell you this. I'm not saying this to be, how do I want to say it? I'm not trying to stretch the truth with this. This is really true. It's so healing and it's so rewarding to hear black women say, hey, we love you, brothers. We shouldn't be doing this because what's happening is a lot of brothers begin to start thinking that maybe it's not the women, maybe it's them. And it becomes very dangerous then because then the men want to quit. They don't want to fight anymore because they feel like, what's the use of fighting? And no matter what he does, he can't win. He can't even win in his own home and have his own woman help him try to fight. And brothers are quitting. I mean, I'm telling you, brothers quit on me every day. I talk to brothers all the time. And I'm not calling up here to beat up on black women, but like the number one thing, I've been doing this since 1994. And I can honestly say, the number one force that has taken black men who have got into the movement, I'm not talking about the ones that didn't get into it. Racism takes them off. But once a man gets into this and decides he wants to do this work for our people and commit to his race, the number one reason I've seen black men leave this movement, probably 75% or more, is because they have a woman that fights for them. And if I can just tell a quick story, we had one brother who had gotten in the movement. He loved the organization. I was part of an organization called Positive Comedic Visions. And this brother he loved being there more than anything this world could offer him because he was around men. And we were talking about educating our people and helping our people. And it got so bad that his wife, anytime we were going to have a meeting, the grass absolutely had to be cut. There was some emergency anytime a meeting would come. And it got so bad when that wasn't working, she started seeing a guy on the job and making sure that he found out that she was seeing another guy to force him to pick between being involved in an organization that was trying to help black people or committing 100% of his time with her. And every time I see that brother, it's a look of guilt and pain in him because he know he quit on this movement because of a woman, but he wanted to keep his family. He loved his daughter so much. He couldn't leave his daughter. It really wasn't the woman so much. He loved his woman, but that little girl of his, everywhere he goes, he has her with him, and he still goes to stuff from time to time. But he's just an example of so many black men that I know. I mean, I can name them one down the line who would be right here in this battle, in this struggle committed, except that women see fighting for freedom as a competition between loving their family and them, and they do everything imaginable that you can conceive to pull men off. So I just want to commend you because I don't think you all understand when you have this dialogue, the therapeutic nature it is for brothers who listen to this station. There's brothers right now who are probably on the verge of crying because it's not that we don't see the condition our people is in. We want to fight. It's a very difficult thing to figure out what to do. And the worst tragedy for a man, anyway, I can speak to in the movement, is to have his woman on the opposite side of the fight, and that's where most black men are finding it women. So I just wanted to say that because I know a lot of brothers are thinking it. I want to let you know what you're doing when you say, what do we do? You don't even have a clue what you're doing right now. Just by being a voice that black men can hear to let us know that we're not insane, that it's not 100%. Every single thing is not our fault. And that we're not crazy when we want to fight this demon. And when our women are fighting with us, that it's not always our fault. Sometimes our women do things that are not right as well. And so we don't have to create a whole entire load feeling like we're just absolute failures and nothing we do works. To hear you all talk the way you're talking, it gives some hope. And believe me, if you don't know what you can do, these kind of dialogues where you're not fighting and talking nothing negative about black men, you're seeing some of the things that black women are doing, that black men are sitting at home going, wow, I'm dealing with that every single day. Just to know, even if you don't leave the situation, but just to know, okay, the woman I'm with, she has problems and everything. None of us are totally right, but this ain't all my fault. Just to know that, for some brothers, is going to be enough for them to keep doing what they're doing, not leave this struggle, and be able to tell the woman, I love you, but I'm going to keep fighting for my people, so you got to make your decision because I've made mine, and not feel as though he's abandoning his family or abandoning his responsibility when, in truth, his responsibility is his race. So I don't want to take up any more time. I don't want to hog up the lines here, but I really, this is moving me, and I know that it's moving other brothers. Most of them probably won't say anything because they probably wouldn't be able to get the words out because their voices will start cracking because I talk to black men every day. And if you could understand the emotional strain that black men are under because of how difficult it is to work with our women to fight this battle, you would never stop having these conversations because we really need you, sisters. So I just wanted to say that and thank you so much. We love you, and we really, really, really need more sisters to come out and support like this. If this is all you do, you're giving more to your race than you can possibly imagine.
Thank you, Brother Jeannie. We appreciate that.
Wow. Thank you.
All right.
See you on the battlefield.
Yeah.
I always wanted to say that. That's his punchline. I'm taking his stuff from him. I know that it's about that time for you to be leaving. Callers, hang on, because the show's still going to go. We're going to take this to the end. 760-569-7676. Code is 948656#. Were there any words that you wanted to close on? Is there any way for people to contact you? I know that you have articles and you're working on a book. Is there any information you want to give the people?
Well, I just want to say, first of all, thank you so much for having me on the show. I feel horrible that I have to go, but I have an appointment, and I would love to come back on your show anytime you'll have me, so we could have, a part 2, because I really enjoy the dialogue so far. And I just wanted to when the brother was speaking, it just really touched my heart because it just shows, that men, they just want support, they want encouragement, they want peace. This world has already set him up, to be a failure. You don't want to go outside and fight the enemy. You got an enemy in your house. And it's very sad that, our brother was put in a situation that he either had to be for his people or have a relationship with his daughter. I mean, that's just really heartbreaking because it shows how we don't view each other as family. You know what I mean? Like, if my sister over here is hurting, I'm not going to be in my house feeling good. You know what I mean? So it kind of gets to where, if we feel comfortable with what we've accomplished and our, individual lives, then we're like, forget everybody else. And it's just kind of, just disturbing how, you have a man that wants to fight for the betterment of his people, but was not able to because he didn't want to sacrifice a relationship with his daughter. It's just really rubbing me, the wrong type of way that he had to make such a decision. And, as women, we're supposed to be heaven for him. We're supposed to give him peace and encouragement. And, look how this brother is receptive to us. And it's just 2 of us on the phone, sis. It's just 2. You know what I mean? So it's like, think about, the effect that if more of us, would be able to say, okay, it's not always you or I did this too. We have brothers that will really fight for us and, risk their lives for us, and really love us and appreciate it because the thing about everything that we want from black men, we have to first be willing to give it. That's how reciprocity works. You don't do nothing and get something, So if I want the love and respect and, affection, I got to put it out there. And that's how it comes back to me. But, just to hear this brother, being so thankful, because I know black men have to get tired because every day on Facebook, there's some status about they're no good. There's an article about them being no good. There's a script written right now about them being no good, and it's going to sell out, and all the girlfriends are going to make a movie night and just go out and watch the movie, and afterwards they're going to talk about how this man reminded them of that man and, have the black male bashing party. And at the end of that, what does that accomplish? What does that prove? We're so busy, fighting for our enemy as black women, like I said, from the letter, we're standing guard, we have become, the best ammunition against the black man, against the family. That is what we have become. We are very well trained assassins, and that's just, I'm a little raw sometimes, but, that's just how I see it. Because, we have the power, we can kill somebody's spirit. You can kill their desire. You can kill the drive. brothers are leaving because they don't have the support, you know, of the women in their life, or, you know, they're coming home and arguing, and these brothers are trying to do something. They're just like, I'm out, you know? So at the end of the day, you know, we have to realize how our mouths, how our tone, and how our actions are driving men away. You know what I mean? Like, they're not just leaving, all of them. They're leaving because we're pushing them out the door. We're basically begging them to leave because of our mouths. We're not supportive. We're always telling him, you're not going to be nothing. We don't want to help build anything with them. And I'm like, you know, I just don't understand that. And, you know, this conversation that the brother, you know, the thought that he just shared is, you know, it's just making me reflect and just, you know, think about a lot of things. You know, I just really hate that brother, you know, felt like he had to sacrifice a bigger movement because he couldn't have a relationship with his child. You know, that's just it's just really sticking with me because that's just wrong and selfish on so many levels. And like I said, you know, that just goes how we don't see each other as family, you know. So if my husband is out there for the cause, I take great pride in that. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to be home under me all the time, you know, because we supposed to be raising the dead together. You know what I mean? But we just like to just let people just walk on by and just let them just be dead and let them, you know, just spiritually die once we feel like we have arrived, which nobody hasn't. But, you know, if we feel like that, and we just watch our brother and sister just lay to the wayside and have them fend for themselves. And I know I probably sound a little passionate right now, but, you know, the brother comments just kind of moved me. I heard the appreciation in his voice, but again, you know, just the fact that so many men have left because they didn't get the support, you know, at home. I'm like, those are soldiers that we're losing. You know what I mean? Like, we're, you know, so self-destructive in our relationship and don't even realize, you know what I mean, that we could be the ones, you know, that taint our relationship. And we just always want to say, oh, he left and he did me wrong. But you don't want to talk about your mouth, you know, like, you know, in Bible, Proverbs, you said a man would rather be on the rooftop or in the desert than at home with a nagging wife. Like, in the desert, like, people die in the desert, you know? There's hardly any life or water in the desert. And it's better for a man to be there than in a home with a nagging wife. So I'm like, you know, just to hear that these brothers are getting all this contention, you know, and, you know, it's killing their spirit. It just makes me feel a little way. And, you know, when I get passionate, I have a, you know, tendency to ramble. So but bring it back on in. And again, thank you so much for allowing me to be on the show. I would definitely love to do a part 2 whenever your schedule allows it. And again, I do apologize that I have to go to an appointment. I just found out about it today. But, I mean, this is a wonderful dialogue, a wonderful discussion. And we have to keep conversations like this in heavy rotation, you know, because this is the only way that we can take progress towards building back our families. That we have to have communication, and I mean open communication, where we don't have some already pre-programmed response. If we're ready to shoot back, you know, just really listen. You know, Black women have all type of venues to talk about their pain and what's been done to them, but Black men, you know, very rarely can talk about their pain because, you know, society paints it to where men can't really express themselves in a genuine manner, or they're labeled soft, you know, even by their own mate. They'll call their husband a punk if he sheds a tear. And I'm like, you know, he's trying to be open with you when you just beat him down, you know. So Black men don't have, you know, a way for them to really, you know, vent and say, this is my struggle as a Black man. This is what I go through as a Black man, you know, for us to be able to say, okay, we see that, you know, we understand that, you know, we got you. Like, I mean, we just have so much power. We just don't understand as women, you know, how we can just, you know, cause a dramatic shift in the change in our men if we can change as women, you know. So, again, thank you so much for having me on the show. I really enjoyed the conversation and the dialogue. I am a writer for the Blackman.com. All of my articles are on there. I'll be launching a website soon. I have a Facebook fan page, Najma Reflects. So people can come see what I write there, whatever. But again, thank you so much for having me on the show. I have really, really, really enjoyed it. And please know that it's breaking my heart that I have to go to the appointment.
Oh, no problem. Thank you for coming. I will definitely be in touch with you about a part 2. It sounds like the brothers are telling us that it's necessary, so we will carry on, God willing, and you be safe tonight.
Yes, ma'am. Assalamualaikum.
Walaikum salam. All right. If you want to call in, the number is 760-569-7676. Participation code 948656#. Women, this is your chance to give your input, any solutions you may have. Brothers, this is your chance to get it off your chest. I know you don't have too many chances to do that. She's right. When Irritated Genie calls in, and I've heard him say some of these stories before, but I don't know, never like that. There was definitely a sincerity and a passion, and I can just definitely feel that. And it's sad to me because, we need brothers. We don't need, well, let me qualify that. We need strong brothers. We don't need you if you're going to be a faggot. We don't need that. We don't need, that kind of brother. We need strong, heterosexual brothers who are capable of leading. I'm not doing this show. I'm not into woman bashing, man bashing. A lot of people think I'm into woman bashing because I'm balanced. Because if I do a show saying black men need to get this together, I'm going to do a show saying black women need to get this together. Because it's a pairing. We're complements. We're partners, companions. There's no reason for a lot of the BS that we go through and that we put each other through. It doesn't make sense. We need strong brothers. And, to see them falling by the wayside it's crazy, and it's inexcusable to me for these women. And I, brothers, if you're not in a relationship, be careful about who you get in a relationship with. Be very, very careful, because it has such, it has such an impact on you as far as raising children, as far as your life. I mean, it could be the difference between life and death. We get these silly women, as you probably heard me and Jeannie discuss before, get mad at you and call the cops on you. And anytime the police are on premises, your life is in danger. We've talked about this before. You know that. They'll get in your face, and some of them will, call you all out your man, every name that they can think of. Get in your face. Some of them will hit you, scratch you, bite you, all this kind of stuff. And then you go to restrain her, and maybe you bruise her wrist or something because you're trying to restrain her. She go and call the police, and you get locked up. You catch a case. I mean, all kinds of ridiculous things that we do, and it just makes no sense. We can't even, it goes back to slavery, but after slavery, we pulled it together. We worked as a unit for a while. We were in this struggle together. It wasn't just you, it was you and us. Sometimes we were in the background. Sometimes we were up front. It was you and us. Even in the Nation of Islam, it would not have existed the way it didn't if it wouldn't have been for Sister Clara. When the Honorable Elijah Muhammad had to go on the run, it was Sister Clara that kept things together. He trusted her to do it, and she kept things going until he was able to come back and take over. She was with him every step of the way. She was behind him. She was supporting him. There was never, I don't need a man. Well, he's going all across the country doing this and doing that, so he ain't no good, whatever. Your daddy ain't this, your daddy ain't that. She had his back. And it's the same thing with almost any black leader that you find. We were there with you, and we should be there with you. There's no reason for this. I read an article, I don't know how long ago, probably a decade ago. I don't know the name of the person that wrote it, but she was saying how one day her man came home from work, and as he came in, he locked the door, and he just turned around, put the back of his head against the door, and just sighed, this sigh of relief. that, man, I'm home. And she wrote an article about homemaking. And she said, sisters, it's such a good feeling to see him doing that on this side of the door. Because how many men do it on the other side of the door when they're leaving? When they're outside, they give that side that, oh, I'm out of here. Let me go somewhere else where I can find peace. And it's a lot of our men doing that. They're not happy to be home. They're happy to be getting out. And that's no way to live. It's ridiculous, and we have got to accept our role in this. I know a man who I love dearly. And he goes and works and takes care of his family, you know, got his woman, got her out the hood, took care of her children. And he comes home after working a hard day at work. She may not have worked that day at all, or she may have worked a couple hours. And he comes home to a damn peanut butter and jelly sandwich, if that. Sometimes she might has stopped at McDonald's and got her a sandwich and say, well, you got to go out and get your own stuff to eat. He would never do that. If he goes out to eat, don't matter what restaurant it is, he brings her something home. But it's not reciprocated, and we don't see anything wrong with that. And I'm asking the women who are listening, if you're too scared to call in, that's fine. But we have to hold each other accountable. When you hear this kind of madness, don't be, oh yeah, girl, ha ha ha. Check her. That's not right. So many times we're so petty. We do things to men that they would never do to us. We talk about men are dogs and all this kind of stuff. Men are not as petty as a woman can be. They would not subject us to the things that we subject them to. And if they did, we would break. We couldn't take it. That's why we're so hypersensitive now. We couldn't take being under the microscope all the time. We couldn't take being the bad guy all the time. We couldn't take being talked about and picked apart all the time. Why in the hell do you think that your man should be able to withstand that kind of pressure? Because he's a man? He doesn't have feelings? He doesn't have desires? He doesn't want to feel successful when everybody else in the world is beating him down and telling him he's nothing? You got to do it too? Why are you with him if you feel that way? If you feel that way, let him go. Let him go. Sit your butt down and let him go find somebody better. Because your body was not dipped in gold and platinum. It is not the best out there. He can find somebody else. We don't want to talk about that. We want to keep him miserable with us. And that's where a lot of these tricks come in. We want to treat him like dirt and then use all these tricks to keep him here with us. Instead of letting him go and find somebody who could work with him and do him better. It's time to step up to the plate or go sit down. Because we're doing a lot of damage. All right. Uh-oh. Brother Jeff, how you doing?
Crack in the trunk.
Cracker in the trunk.
What's up, sis?
Nothing much. How you doing?
I'm alright.
What you got for us today?
I got a little bit. Irritated Jenny really hit it on the nose. You know, with what he said, because I didn't even understand what the topic was till he got on. I came on kind of late because I was supporting my wife in this meeting she's doing, but I can definitely say that, man, I'm lucky to have someone who understands my work out here doing what we're doing as far as black people. My wife definitely understands and supports me with where right now, anyway, in the beginning, she didn't. I guess, like you said, or like the sister said too, sometimes females get confused on your work out here in the movement with you abandoning them or I guess not giving them the same attention that you used to, and you just changing your attitude for the better and making you stronger. Some women don't want their men to be strong for some reason. I don't know. I missed the second Nat Turner day because my wife didn't agree on me going up to Philly, and I got up there when they was packing up the cracker. I couldn't even smack them. But then the next year, Nat Turner day for the Nat Turner play, she was right there with the whole family. So, I just say that for the black man, stick in there with your family. Even if the woman is not supporting you, you just have to, I guess, understand it, brothers, because the black woman, like the man said, been through a lot. We put them through a lot. The cracker put them through a lot. Well, the cracker put them through HELL, and we haven't done anything to this day in retaliation for that. Only thing we did was add fuel to the fire. So I just want to say, man, it's hard, because that one thing I say to the brother once I was enlightened, because other than my black power, I do a lot of things that my wife don't agree with. So it took me a while to get myself together outside the movement the way I need to put my family first. And I'm still working on that. I'm not perfect. But when I did, we split up time to time. And when I did leave, I realized that if I did want to continue my life without my wife, it would probably be solo, because I haven't met not one black female outside of my wife who I can also date, because they put someone also who I would say that will be supporting me in my war against these homos, against this cracker, against these child molesters. It's like, it's 1 in a million of y'all out here. So I would have to say, for the brother who enjoy being around a black female, period, and wants to be with his family, just gotta suck it up, brothers. Don't leave your family. Don't cry. You got to be strong, and just keep doing what you're doing with this movement. Just keep doing what you're doing with this movement. Teach your kids, teach your daughters not to be like their mothers. Teach your sons not to, if they are being mistreated by their females, not to retaliate with violence. And just keep on with the struggle. I mean, I don't have a remedy to come up with to say what to do really when you're dealing with a black woman who, when you come home, because basically, I mean, you're going to go through it. I mean, I don't know what's up with either way. If you're doing the most perfect things out here, you're going to hear something from your woman. So, like Brother Baruti say, if you're out here looking for a woman, 2 things you need to have in common. You love your black people, and you hate this cracker. And I haven't met one yet.
Yes, sir.
And that's all I have to say. Black liberation. It's hard out here for a panther.
I hear you. Thank you for calling in. I appreciate it.
All right.
Crack in the trunk.
Crack in the trunk.
And he's right. It is hard to find. It's very, very hard to find. Because a lot of times, this is how we are used as an enemy against our men. We're the biggest supporters of homosexuality. We're the biggest lovers of crackers. Some of us don't have any devil friends, don't live around devils, never had no interactions with devils, but we are the biggest supporters of telling somebody that white people are great. We don't know nothing about white people. But let a black man say something about white people. Oh, no, you're wrong. You're wrong. You don't know about that. White people are fine. White people are great. They come home and tell us about some racism that they've experienced on their job. It ain't that bad. I don't know why you can't just suck it up. You know, just always. You know, we have these fag friends. We let our sons all around these fags, and it's ridiculous. And then we say, you know, I can't find a man. All the men are gay. Well, that shouldn't be a problem. You hanging around them all the damn time. I mean, what? You love homos, so why are you upset that you can't find a man because all the men are homos? You supporting it. And if you keep letting your son hang around homos, then the next generation ain't gonna have men either. So stop whining. It is what it is. And I'm really not trying to come down on black women too hard today, but you know, it's the truth. It's things that we need to look at. And because if we don't look at it, we can never get any better. If we just keep acting like everything is cool, we don't do nothing wrong, nothing is going to get better. So we have to look at this. We have to. And I will say, for some women who never want their men to go out in a community and do anything, I wonder if that's some insecurity. A lot of times, I know it is. We're worried that they're going to meet somebody better than us, who will treat them better than us, and they're going to go and be with them, or at least cheat with them. You know, when my husband used to sell the paper, when we were still affiliated with a temple, he would go out, and I didn't worry about him. I knew he was coming home. And when he was coming home, it was going to be a meal waiting on him. I didn't have to worry about that. I know, and these sisters with some FOI do some scandalous stuff. Don't think they just selling papers and that's it. I mean, sometimes they'll be going door to door selling papers. Sisters open up the door and be naked or have negligees on. Sometimes they'll just be butt naked just to get a reaction or to see if they can pull them off their square. But I ain't worried about it. I'm not worried about it in least bit because I know he's coming home. And I know I'm nowhere near perfect. He'll get on here and put me on blast, so I ain't even let him call in today. But I'm not that bad that I got to worry when he leave out that he's not coming back home. Women, these are things that we need to think about. If you that insecure, what do you need to fix within yourself? Is your house dirty? You can't have peace in a dirty home. Do you need to clean some of that up? Are you constantly nagging him? Don't waste your time. If I ask my husband to do something, I know 6 months later I'm going to still be asking him to do something. I'm going to either pay to have it done or I'm going to do it myself. Because I get tired of sounding like somebody's mama. You know, find some solutions. Do better. Do better. You can't be on somebody all the time about everything, and you can't change anybody. You don't want nobody trying to change you. Stop trying to change them. Simple stuff. Simple common courtesy and respect. We got to get it back. All right, 4119, you're live.
Assalamu alaikum, sisters, brother Sharif.
Wa alaikum salam, how you doing?
Hanging in there, sis. Appreciate what you're doing. Great topic, and definitely can kind of relate to what Brother Jeannie was saying, because I'm kind of burnt out myself. I work with, different boys groups, and I've recently told them that I'm just taking kind of an advisory role. Some of it is just black people not being organized. I'm just burnt out myself, but luckily I have met, a sister. Me and her are just platonic friends, and everything that you guys are saying, she kind of encourages me, and says she appreciates, what I do. She knows who she is, but that's kind of giving me, a little more energy, but I can definitely relate to what Brother Jeannie is saying.
So you find it very draining when you're trying to go out there and make a difference, and then you're dealing with black women who are in complete opposition to you.
Right, or just, just don't support it, just the breaking up of the face. And, it's a lot of subtle ways that you can come across that you don't agree, and, other drama to go with it, when you go to your job, it's just really hard for us. Like Brother Jeff was saying, it's just where it's no safe sanctuary for black men. Anywhere we go, we're the number one target, and to not even get, a thank you, or acting like this is bothering you, that's really draining. And all the other drama with black men not being organized, and it's just never a break. So I'm glad I bumped into the sister, who kind of encourages me. I don't even think she realizes how much she does. That's been a blessing.
Yes, sir. Well, I definitely wish you two the best of luck. And like I said, it's hard to find peace. So when you find it, you got to take it where you can get it in these days and times, 100%. Did you have anything else for us?
No, I'm going to let you get to the other callers, and appreciate what you do.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you for calling in. Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am.
Peace. All right. Uh-oh. See, that's what I'm talking about. He done said something once. Now he came all nice. He probably done had a change of heart. He gonna cuss everybody out. Ain't no female listeners ever gonna listen to the show again. I can feel it coming. I can feel it coming. What you got for us, brother? Brother Genie, you there? Brother Genie? All right, I will try to come back to him in a minute, see maybe he's away from his phone or maybe he was just calling back to listen in. I'm not sure. But he didn't cuss nobody out. That's good. That's good. All right. My brother, how you doing?
Peace and blessings, Queen. How are you?
Peace, I'm doing good.
I gotta say, I love this show. I tried to get my ex-girlfriend to listen in, but I guess no bueno for that. I love, need, want, and support black women, just the black family all together. I always said to myself that, once I really start making my moves and really doing my part to secure the race, I always felt like I'd be the one, to talk to black women and do what I can to give them that support, let them know how black men feel, how we think, and what we're looking for, and all that good stuff. But honestly speaking, I've gotten kind of fed up because every relationship, I'd either have black women say, I love how you are, I love how independent and how strong-minded you are, and how much you don't like these crack deals, but it never seems to work out. And the one woman who I thought was going to take it all the way with me, it didn't work out. I mean, at the end of the day, we all suffer from postpartum slavery. So we're all dysfunctional to some degree, a lot more than others. And, we have to learn how to work through that dysfunction. I wanted to call in earlier, but I wasn't able to. I forget the guest name that you had on tonight.
Sister Najma Muhammad.
Yes. She was saying, I just lost my thought about what I wanted to comment on. But she had a lot of good points, a lot of good topics. Yes, about finding potential. Yes, that's what I wanted to say. Finding potential in each other. And knowing that, okay, neither one of us are great, neither one of us are perfect. Yes, there are some things that we need to work on. But once you find that possibility of growth and potential, that's what you need to stick with and work with. I was talking to this brother a few months ago, and I have to give him respect just for how candid he was with me. I didn't know him, he didn't know me, but we began to build. And once we found out that, we're conscious and we both don't like crackers, the conversation just got flowing. And he began to divulge some information to me that kind of threw me off. He was saying how he's always felt that bisexual feeling. He said he never wanted to consider himself bisexual, but he always grew up with that dysfunctional mentality. That Euro stuff has been in his psyche for so long. And he said to me, he always felt that the love of a black woman would be his redemption, because he didn't want to live that lifestyle, and he always sought a black woman to help him. So he told me the one black woman that he told this to, he told her about his greatest challenge. And he told me that she kind of said to him, in other words, since you have this issue, everything else you have to do has to be perfect. I mean, everything about you has to be perfect if I'm going to accept this aspect about you. And, the way he broke it down to me, he was really in love with her, and he really felt that love for her to really make that change in himself. And he said he felt crushed by that. And black women don't realize how much damage they do, especially to the men who really want to be the father figure, to be that black image that has been desecrated and driven through the mud and replaced with everything that we never were. I'm glad this came up. This show came about because it needs to be spoken about. Too many times, black men we're the ones thrown to the sharks and to the wolves and so forth. And it's always we'll try to do better. We'll try to do better, but the black woman never really gets to talk about what she's done wrong.
Yes, sir. Wow, it's a crazy story. Goodness gracious. But it's deep.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say it's deep sometimes. We don't know, the influence that we have on somebody, and depending on, who he would have got with, he could have got with somebody to just turn him all the way out, and then he'd be one of these people that, are a definite problem in the community, and it could have been triggered by some female. It probably was in the beginning triggered by some female, but, later on in life, we don't make it any better.
Well, that's pretty much all I wanted to say. Thank you for having me on, and I'm just going to continue listening.
You're welcome. Thank you so much. I appreciate you for calling in.
Definitely.
All right. 0174, you're live. 0174.
Good evening, Queens. How are you?
Good evening. Good. How are you?
I'm doing fine. This is Sister Nima.
Peace, Sister Nima.
Peace. I have a list of things that I can probably say about this topic. But first, I want to thank you for having this dialogue. I think that we need to do this more because we have a lot of brothers who are struggling in these relationships. And as women, we have to learn to just kind of step back and be a little more supportive and not be so eager to be the aggressor all the time. And I found that a lot with a lot of my girlfriends who are married or have boyfriends that they live with. And it's like they're wearing the pants. It's like, okay, you need to step back because then when this brother steps out, you're going to be hurt. So with that said, I just think that it's definitely a need for unity. It's a need for support for our brothers. And this big child support thing is another thing that really touches me.
Yes, ma'am.
There are a lot of sisters who they're using these children as weapons, and they shouldn't do that. It's a lot of guys who they may be in a position right now where financially they can't really give what they probably should, but I don't think that should be a reason for the woman to say, hey, you can't be in this child's life because you can't meet certain child support payments. I think that's insane. I think that if he's a worthy man, because, I know some brothers that, maybe they do need to stay out of the household because they're probably not a good role model. But I think for the brothers who are, I think these sisters really need to give them a chance. So that's all I wanted to say. I don't want to hold up all the time. I know we just have a little more time left on the show. So.
Oh, no, thank you for calling in. Is this your first time listening to the program?
No, actually, I listen to you a lot. And I just never really have a chance to contribute. So I do intend to contribute more. I have listened to a lot of your shows in the past. So
yes, ma'am.
Welcome to the airway.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I was a little nervous when you first came on. I heard a woman's voice. I said, I'm going to get it. I've been doing good all show, and I'm going to get it. So.
They had to add a little more female energy to the airway. So.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much for calling in.
Thank you.
Peace. Ooh, I thank that sister because I heard her come on. I said, boy, this show's been going real smooth. Uh-oh. I'm about to get it. So thank you so much for your constructive addition. We definitely appreciate it. And she's right about that child support thing. I mean, a lot of us haven't got it through our minds that child support is for support of the child. You, for whatever reason, didn't make your relationship work and your child needs support. We want to be taken care of like we're some kind of concubine, but the man don't get no benefits. We just want to basically just set ourselves up like that. And, we do a lot of unfair things to brothers. I mean, we take some pretty big chunks out of their check. And, we say, well, it take a lot of money to raise a child. Half the time we ain't putting in to that child what the brother's putting in, or these children will be a lot better. They probably be in some better schools, be in some after school programs. They'd have a lot more advantages if we were putting the hundreds of dollars in every month that these men are expected to. We really need to examine this whole child support thing and what's really going on with it. It gets deep. It gets to be a little much, and it's a weapon a lot of times it's just a straight up weapon. 5680, you're live.
Assalamu alaikum, sister. It's me again.
Wa alaikum salam. Did you have anything else to add, or are you just listening in?
Yeah, I was listening in, but you all touched on a lot of things, and one point that I didn't make is you had mentioned that after slavery that we became dignified and the black families kind of held together. And what happened? Well, that first generation out of slavery, they had a desire to keep their family together. So the men knew his role and the women knew her role. And a lot of that now is we forget our roles as women. We become competitive with our brothers instead of being their partners. And that's when you starting to tear down the black family. Like, we have positive brothers that's out in the community, like the brothers that called in. And I witnessed brothers like that, too. They're involved with an organization that's out there trying to help black people. And here comes the little lady. They get in a relationship, and she feel like she has to compete with the brother in the organization instead of getting involved. So if they become involved on the same levels and in the same organizations, then maybe they could help make the benefit the whole family. And that's what happened. We have to recognize that we're not each other's enemies and accept our role. A lot of women now, even some women in the Nation of Islam, we want to become a man. We think we're the man. We want to do everything. No, we have a role. If you can't be the man, you have to support your man. And that's all I wanted to say, sister. Thank you for taking my second call.
You're welcome. Walaikum salam. Yes, ma'am, I agree completely. We definitely have a desire to control all aspects of everything, especially those of us who have been single a while. Ooh-wee, boy. We get set in our ways, and we are not going to give up that control whatsoever. So you are definitely right about that. All right. King David, I know that you're going to come on and say that I'm the best wife in the world. I'm not guilty of any of this, but some of your friends have told you some disturbing things. Go ahead.
Alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
That's why I know you have a lot of time, so I'll make it quick, make my comments quick. It's just this whole society created by this evil and wicked white man is just based on direct opposition to the black man. It's hard for a black man to make it in society unless you're just a complete sellout Negro or you're going along to get along. You know, not to get biblical, but Pharaoh, in the Old Testament, said that he was afraid that the slaves either would change the religion or join to an enemy of his. So he said, kill all boy babies. And that's the situation the black man is in now. The white man, the modern day Pharaoh, is killing all the boy babies. You know, when it's destroyed the black man and exalt the black woman is being exalted, the black man is being destroyed. In the early 90s, my mentor, Brother Sheldon Muhammad, would point out that if you go downtown, all these big office buildings, all these crackers, you see black women. She's the executive secretary, she's the executive vice president of sales, and the president of sales. She have all these top positions. And the brothers would be the janitors. But you don't even find that today. You go downtown, all these buildings, all these white folks, you don't see the black man nowhere. You do see a black man in there, he's a faggot. So he's no threat. But even the strong brothers who were the they're gone. So the black man he's an endangered species today, and he's being destroyed. And they do it through family. And it's good to see sisters, they realize that, the way that this cracker is destroying the black man, and he's doing it through family. It's just good to see, the sisters realize that, it's something, that, it's hard being a black man in America. It's an uphill battle, fighting this cracker. It's an uphill battle, being a father, my children, live in St. Louis, you well know that, and I pay child support. And I get the child support stories from my daughters, that the money doesn't go where it's supposed to go. And I don't get it too deep into it, but the money doesn't go where it's supposed to go. And it's just hard for a black man, I'm not going to get too deep into it. I know you have enough time for all that. But that's pretty much all I want to say, Queen. It's just rough being a black man in America. And we need our sisters to be behind us, in front of us, on the side of us. We need the support of our sisters and realize the battle the black man is in every day from this wicked cracker.
Yes, sir. Thank you for calling in.
Thank you for taking my call, Queen. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. And I will continue being the world's most perfect wife. I can say that now because I got him muted. Unless he come back in here, then he can throw my whole game off. Let me hope he comes in here and be quiet. All right.
You're the perfect wife.
That's right. All right. And we're going to try to be brief so the Brother DJ show can get started. But I do want to take all my calls. This is my brother who always has something wonderful to add to the conversation. My brother Lewis, how are you?
Peace, Queen. How you doing?
Peace. I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing really good. I'm good to hear your voice. I actually didn't realize it was so late. I got my East Coast and my southbound lane time mixed up. But it's good to hear you on the radio, and I hope you continue to raise our people up, sister. I know you will.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for calling in.
Yes, ma'am. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. All right. Well, that pretty much does it today. I will be talking to Najma. It seems like this is a topic people really want to talk about. So I will be talking to Sister Najma, see if she wants to come back at some point and do a part 2, especially because I know that she is working on a book, which I'm sure that we would love to support. We definitely need to hear more things like that. And just my final thoughts, I just want to let everybody know, I'm not having shows like this just for no reason. We're at war, and we're going to lose this war if we don't get it together. We need to work as a unit. It's got to be man, woman, child. It's got to be family, and then it's got to be community. So this is something that we have to take seriously. We are at war. Everything we have to do is everything that we do should be a declaration of war. Now, I do want to let you know that Brother DJ will be up next, him and Brother Kemet, so you do want to stay tuned for that program. They're going to be talking about homosexuality, I believe, World War III, and the decline of the dollar. It's going to be a great program, so you want to listen into that. My next program, which will be in 2 weeks, will have my brother Omowale Mayasa from United Front. If you have not got their CD yet, then you're tripping. I tell you to get it every show. If you haven't got it by now, I'm just at a loss for words. I don't know what to say. He's going to be on here talking about instilling manhood in our sons. This is something we have to do. We can't keep creating a nation of homosexual men who are not going to do anything for our community. So the song that we are going to leave out too is a song that I love by United Front, letting us know that everything we do is a declaration of war. We are at war. Let's get it together.
I am not hip-hop. I repeat, I am not hip-hop. This is not hip-hop. Do not compare us with that trash you heard. This has nothing to do with hip-hop being dead or not. We've been off that. This is war. What I do with my words and my actions are a declaration of war on white racism, white imperialism, and white sex. This is war. If I'm rhyming about loving my queen, it's a declaration of war. These devils shouted the black family structure before, during, and after the Ma'afa. This is war. And now homosexuality is running rampant in our communities all over the globe. This is war. I don't say fancy rhymes or words or punchlines just to rhyme. This is a declaration of war. I care less about a rap battle. This is the battle between God and devil. This is war. I don't flow to be cool or because I need a hobby. This is a declaration of war. We organize and strategize and prepare for the uprising. Revolution is a process, and this